Oh my
That's
God.
never come up before.
You have to consent to being recorded.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm going to leave. Oh,
That's new.
yeah. Well, there you go. That's the start of this podcast episode.
I can't secretly record people anymore. Damn.
No, oh my God. Oh, yeah.
Well, so you don't know what this week's topic is about, do you?
No.
Nervous?
Hi, everyone. I haven't got
Yeah.
a clue.
We thought it'd be fun to just kind of surprise each other with some topics and just pull them out of nowhere, because Harriet's done a lot of this to me recently with not knowing any of the questions.
It's not my fault. I'm question coordinator. Oh God. This is it, right? Ladies and gents, now submit all of your questions to the podcast for Luke, because he can't deal with it. No, fine, cool.
Okay, so as we all know, well, you might not, but tomorrow Harriet turns 30 as it is her birthday. So in line with kind of general milestones in life.
I've gone. Oh, I walked out of the changing rooms at the gym today, and at Ironworks, and James got everyone to start clapping. It was really embarrassing.
Oh, I love James.
Okay, so milestones.
So today's topic, well, the first part of the topic anyway, it might transition into some other bits as well, but I want to take this as like an opportunity to discuss any sort of like training and nutrition adjustments around large kind of life events. Now, I wanted to take this into kind of two examples, because quite often with us, we get a lot of clients that will be wanting to get into shape for a specific event, whether it's a birthday, a holiday, a wedding, something, a particular time frame. So I wanted to take that as kind of one side of things, in the sense of, okay, someone going into a specific fat loss phase for a specific event, or if they've got other events coming up within their fat loss phase. So whether it's like your brother's birthday or a family event or a wedding or something, but you're in a specific phase for yourself going into a fat loss phase.
Okay.
And the other side of things is how to kind of manage your training and nutrition just in a general kind of lifestyle state in and around that kind of milestone event. Because obviously you're someone that is very interested in health and fitness, clearly, being a personal trainer.
Well, one of my loves.
Yeah, but the thing I love about you is that you marry sort of health and nutrition around a lifestyle. Like,
yeah, I try.
Yeah, it's no secret that you do like a drink.
Not
so
a secret at all. I am my yeah.
But having that kind of lifestyle approach of what can we do to adjust our sort of training nutrition to enjoy life at the same time. So that was kind of the main.
Scary. I like this. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I can breathe again.
So I think a good starting point would be, how have you been approaching this last week or so around your 30th, and what are you planning over the next kind of couple of days?
God. There's so many food and drink related plans. So in terms of this week, actually, really wonderfully, but also really unhelpfully, I was in London on Tuesday night for a friend's birthday. So I guess kind of prime example number one was I managed to go on a night out. Well, we went for some drinks, then dinner, but partly because of how much work I have to fit in this week into 4 days rather than the usual 5, and just how busy kind of things have been with like getting plans sorted, I made the decision that I was going to drive to the station. We were going up to London anyway, so I knew that I had my car at the station, so I had to be very sensible with what I drank.
Yeah.
So I allowed myself one cocktail earlier on because we were in London from like, I don't know, 3 o'clock, and then one at dinner, plenty of water / Diet Coke in between. because I wanted to be able to stick to my plan of getting a certain train home with it not being too late, so that I was still in bed at a reasonable time, because I'm an old granny and I can't survive on much less sleep. But no, so I already knew that for me, I kind of looked at the week as a whole and went, right, okay, I know this week is going to be quite busy work-wise, busy with a lot of social plans this weekend, which do all revolve around food and drink, which is pretty standard, kind of, I think, for a birthday anyway. And went, well, in the nicest possible way, it's not my birthday on Tuesday. I can still go be sociable. I don't have to be the one that goes, oh, I'm only drinking tap water and I'm going to go home straight away. Like, I still went up early for drinks, had dinner. To be honest, there was absolutely no control over my dinner. I ate past fullness. I did have to undo my jeans. For anyone that saw my story, I genuinely did undo my jeans on the way home. But for me, the food was over and above the alcohol, which then leads into, what am I doing this weekend? I'm the kind of girl that I'm like, one takeaway, a limit maximum, or like food out. I don't really like to go more than that, because I feel it can impact my overall week in a way that I don't necessarily want it to. And that's kind of a boundary that I've built up for myself over the last couple of years. So not only was I out on Tuesday, I've got lunch out with my mum tomorrow. I've then got dinner out with my dad. Then I've got drinks with the girls on Saturday, and then more drinks on Sunday. So
very busy week.
Yeah, I've just done one of my clients' check-ins, and we were talking a lot about social situations, and I went, oh, this is really a bad week for me to be talking about limiting your alcohol. That being said, tomorrow, when I've got lunch and dinner, my focus is going to be more on the food than the drink, because I know Saturday is going to be more alcohol heavy, because it's a bunch of 29 and 30-year-olds playing beer pong, having like an old school garden party, because this is how old we all are now. So I've not necessarily made huge changes elsewhere in my week. Just really boringly, like normal food for me the majority of the time. I've tried to not necessarily have a biscuit just for the sake of it, and just kind of go, bigger picture, Harriet, you've got a lot going on this weekend, and I want to feel as good as I can going into the weekend, and then I'll just come out the other side of it looking like a zombie. It'll be fun.
So are you feeling quite happy mentally sort of going into this week, or is there any sort of stress around kind of the food, lack of training and drinks?
Do you know what the biggest thing is? I got to the point where I hadn't trained in nearly a week, and I was getting a little bit antsy. And sometimes I can be really good at managing anxiety around being busy, and sometimes I kind of go into the slightly more flappy, I'm just busy and I just don't have time, which is where I've been this week. And I think it's also because I'm really hormonal, so that's been fun. I've been a delight this week. But I got to the point where I think I had about 40 minutes, and I was really triggered by a post that Emma Story Gordon put up about, like, basically the effect of doing something is always going to be better than doing nothing. And you don't have to go into it feeling like, oh, well, if I can't do my whole workout, there's no point doing anything. And I just went totally off plan. I stuck my headphones in, did a few more supersets, which I don't really tend to do, and just did a bit of an all over upper body, and then went, okay, that was everything I needed. And obviously, there are a few tick boxes this week that haven't been ticked. Steps have been pretty low. But I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling just a lot more at peace with myself in general, whereas a few years ago, this really would have stressed me out. Even the thought of having 4 days off work would have been quite tough. I'm just
especially as a self-employed person.
Oh yeah,
it becomes more stressful.
Oh God, absolutely. Because I don't know about you, but I don't just not do people's check-ins. I will try and move them, which is probably even more stressful because I've got something like 15 to do next Tuesday. So I'm trying not to think about that, because otherwise come Monday, I'll be sweating. I have said to the team, bless them, I'm like, right, we're going to act like I'm doing them Monday, but as far as you're aware, I'm doing them Tuesday, so that if I can do some on Monday, that's going to be more for kind of my peace of mind to stop me going.
You might
crazy.
get, say, like 2 or 3 in just to kind of reduce that load for Tuesday.
Exactly, because the thing I don't want is to take Monday off and then really struggle Tuesday, because you never want to let anybody down.
No, I think that's always a hard thing when, especially in sort of coaching, is managing having kind of time off and time away, but still being able to kind of check in with your clients, because we work on this kind of monthly rolling coaching basis where you feel like, how do I take that time off but still provide a service for people? But everyone needs a holiday. Everyone needs a bit of time off now and again. Like if you're working a normal job, you'll have holiday to use up to have like an extra day of the weekend, or like bank holidays that we still work bank holidays and get our check-ins done, and it makes no difference to us. So that's always hard to manage.
Yeah, but I decided for the first time this was going to be my long weekend, because got to be properly jammy having a 30th, so a bigger birthday on a Friday of a bank holiday weekend. I'd be insane to miss out on that opportunity. So yeah,
I think as well, tying it in with the fact of coming out of lockdown now has been that sort of added benefit as well, that you're actually able to kind of go out and enjoy things a bit more.
You know what, it's really sad though, I'm still not really like seeing any more than 6 people anyway. You know, like you can now see 30 outdoors. I think a lot of people are now like, oh well, I could book like a pub garden and 30 of us can be there. I'm still like, no, do you know what? I'm quite content with my little 6 or so people. So I look like I'm doing a lot, but it's because I've kind of condensed group sizes, partly so that I can actually see people. If I had just like 30 people, I wouldn't feel like I'd get to talk to them all. Whereas this way I can manage it all. She says.
I want to go back quickly.
Yeah.
New word there. Back quickly to the point you're saying about where you've gone back into the gym this week and just sort of took it off plan. And that's something that, because I've actually kind of struggled this last week or so, actually sort of getting into gym and doing bits. And I think sometimes we need to either take the approach of, because obviously always following a plan is going to get you better results. And if we're solely focused on trying to get the best results possible, then we want to stick to that plan as closely as possible and progress it. But if we're in some phases of our life trying to follow more of a lifestyle based programming and trying to look after our mental health a bit more and just enjoy things, sometimes it can be more beneficial to go off of plan. Because, for example, you're saying you're doing sort of supersets and things like that. Now you can't relate across performance from doing supersets to your normal plan.
Not at all.
Because they're so vastly different, and it's going to be completely different. So you're not going to get that effect of, but last week I was lifting 50 kilos and this week I'm struggling with 40. It's going to be, I've done some weird ass supersets of this that has no correlation. So it's reducing that aspect of like comparison.
Yeah, you literally can only just go based on how do you feel post session. And even to the point where some of the moves I was doing, I wasn't even necessarily thinking about, what weight was I doing last 2 weeks ago. And I was kind of coming into a deload anyway until my PMS beat me up last week and I literally just walked out of the gym. So because I'd be in between program cycles anyway, I've got to the point where I'm a bit like, do you know what? I'll just go and do something and just move and have that focus on something else. Because I think sometimes if you're not really following your training plan, it can be like an awful time where then like insecurities can crop up, or you find yourself body checking a little bit more, looking to go, well, am I looking flatter? Are the gains disappearing? Have I lost muscle in a week? And it's like, it's almost like to combat that, just go and move, and with no markers to follow near enough whatsoever, what will be, you know that if you've not trained for a week, your performance isn't going to be where it was the week before anyway. But moving your body in any which way is going to be better than sitting on your bum. And mentally, I felt so much better for it. I then went and did some legs today. So, you know, that's 2 days in a row. Woohoo!
That's good. See, I was coming to, so I train 4 days a week at the moment, doing a kind of modified upper lower, but I'm pairing shoulders with my lower body because my legs can't handle much volume at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm pairing those on my lower days. And I'd done my first 3 days, and then I was struggling for that last day. Just I wasn't in a good place, like mentally. So then it got to like Sunday, I was going to go Monday, but then lots of sort of check-ins and didn't really feel like going. And then it would have gone back into like my normal day of the next program. So all I done was I was dropped that last session, legs. No one doesn't matter. Anyway. So, but then Tuesday, I was really struggling to actually find the motivation to go to the gym, and I just didn't really want to go. There was no sort of reason for it. I was just feeling really bad still, and spent a couple of hours just trying to kind of build up this willingness to actually go. And eventually kind of thinking through the process of like, all right, I'm just going to actually go and just move, not do program or anything, and just kind of do what I can and take that pressure off. So that kind of got me to the gym. And then when I was there, I was like, okay, I'm doing this. I'll do like more of an upper body session because that would be today. And then I just picked the first exercise that was on my plan anyway and done that. And then once I'd done that, I was like, I might as well just do my normal session. And so
I love it when that happens.
Yeah, and performance was there. It was fine. It got me sort of back into the rhythm of it. I've done sort of the next session, resting today, and I should probably be able to get the rest of this week's sessions done. So sometimes it does just take that action to be able to then follow through.
And I'd always say if you're going back after say a week off, and maybe you're like me, you're quite rigid, you're meant to be doing session 1, which is lower, but actually you like upper more, I would just say start with your favorite move or your favorite section from that week. So for me, without a doubt, it's upper, and it's always a form of pull down or a row to start, and I'm like, right, I'm just going to go, I'm just going to do and you will be amazed at how much you can then pull out when you thought you were really not capable of doing anything at all. But nothing wrong with starting with your favorite exercises whatsoever.
No. Okay, so bringing this back to some applicable information for people, because it's not applicable. It should be, kind of information based, I guess. But in terms of recommendations for your clients, if you had someone you're working with, let's take the lifestyle based person first. So if a client was working with you, they had no specific kind of goals, long term, maybe want to drop a bit of body fat, but not in a dedicated fat loss phase as kind of strict. What would your approach for them be if they had a event coming up?
Okay, so I think one of the biggest things is don't have rigid expectations of yourself. I think often when we're trying to say, right, well, I've got this coming up, but I'm going to eat on plan, or I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, I think sometimes that makes it worse. I think sometimes the more relaxed you are in your lead up to it, the more kind of calm you go into it. And then I think sometimes you'll often make decisions based more on logic rather than emotions. It's like the minute I say to you, right, look, well, you're not going to drink coffee for 3 days, what are you immediately going to want to do? You're going to want to have a coffee. The minute somebody tries to take it away from you, I think it's just going to end up worse. So if you're a lifestyle client, you've got an event coming up, if you are tracking your calories, I'd say you can still use some of the tools that we would use with somebody in a fat loss phase, i.e. banking some calories to slide them along to that event. If you're not, and that's not really a focus, I would say in many cases, don't necessarily hugely change what you're doing in the approach to it, but maybe if you're a fan of a glass of wine every other evening, because, and then it kind of becomes a bit of a habit. I'd maybe just sit there and be like, right, okay, do I need this? I'm probably going to be drinking quite a bit the weekend. Is this going to serve me particularly well right now? Or am I going to lose anything by not having this glass of wine with my pasta on Tuesday night? If the answer is no, then make that decision to be like, right, okay, I'm picking Saturday night's event over and above, you know, whatever on a Tuesday. Same with anything. I think, oh God, it sounds really rubbish and like a non-answer, but it's the same with anything. Ask yourself, am I actually hungry for this? Do I really want this? You know, am I eating now because I'm still hungry, or actually am I getting full? Can I stop? And sometimes just actually calling yourself out and going, well, what do I want right now can really, really help you.
Yeah.
Obviously, we all know that an evening or a weekend full of, you know, excess in any one direction, whether it's food or alcohol, is going to have short-term side effects. The scales are probably going to be up. You probably are going to be a little bit bloated, maybe a little bit tired if it's been a late night. But even if you don't take any steps prior to that, it's still not going to be the end of the world. Like if your goal is lifestyle and it's not, and you're not trying to navigate this event whilst being in a calorie deficit, if you go a bit nuts and you inhale a bit too much cake, well, it's done. I think one of the biggest things is actually then post that event, not beating yourself up about it, because that is a waste of your time. I think that we often hear the phrase like, oh, I wasn't really in control of my situation bandied about. And I was saying to one of my clients this morning, and they must all hate me for it. You are in control. You're the only person in control of your life. Even if you're going to a party and you're not necessarily in control of the food that's going to be provided, who's the person that chooses what they pick up and put in their mouth? You are. You know, who's the person that decides whether or not you do actually want another alcoholic drink? You are. If your mates are doing shots, I am the one in the group that buys the shots, but all of my mates will turn around and give them to somebody else. They are nightmares. But I'm not then going to like start an argument with them and be like, I can't believe you've just done that. It was my stupid fault for buying them. If I want to drink it, then that's on me. If they don't want to drink it, then fair play to them for giving it to somebody else. You know, no, we're all adults here. Nobody's going to sit you down, open your mouth, hold it open and force you to drink a load of alcohol. So as boring as it is, sometimes I think you just got to own your own shit. Yeah. It's not going to be a popular answer, that, is it?
I think that is the truth, though. And sometimes it takes time for people to realize that. And often you've got to make that decision beforehand of, how am I going to feel after this event? Am I going to react badly to what the choices that I have made? What do I actually want? Do I need a bit of relaxation? Do I need to just enjoy the meal, not worry too much, make a couple of better choices, not go overboard and be sensible about it? Or am I going to adapt, like say, calorie banking before or after the event, to give myself a little bit of leeway? And I think with lifestyle clients and people, it's more an adjustment on some of the tools that we would recommend and apply to people in a specific fat loss phase to have more control over that situation. But it is down to that decision of the individual, how intense they want to make those choices.
Yeah.
And
go.
No, I finished.
I'm coming at this as well. I'm not coming at this from a position of, I've navigated X, Y, and Z so successfully. I have spent years overeating, over drinking, at most social occasions, because in many ways it was the restrictions that I was living in my day-to-day life. Whereas now, where I'm a little bit more, nothing's off the table, but I'm making decisions based on my overarching objective, i.e. in a maintenance phase to not actually smash on a load of body fat again. Because I might have, I don't know. I used to be a demon for like crisps and dip at a party. It was just literally my kryptonite. Basically crisps are anyway. But now I'll have crisps semi-regularly in my actual life. So because I'm not so restrictive on them, and it's something as silly as crisps, that I'll probably be less diving into the crisp bowl in a social situation. Same with like meals out. I will still only really pick the things that I really want, or something I won't cook at home. That's my kind of general vibe on a meal out. Like these days, I won't order things like, I'm thinking like pub meals, like scampi, lasagna, because, no, would I order scampi? No, not anymore. I used to, but it's things that you can still adapt and cook at home. And I'd rather, if I'm paying to eat out, I'd rather have something that I'm either not capable of cooking or probably not going to cook. Or my favorite one is, I can do that better at home. I'm not paying for that here. And that's like the way I go through my thought process. But same with alcohol. I've done the drinking too much on just a normal Saturday night, feeling the after effects on a Sunday, and then letting that carry on week in, week out. I mean, let's just face it, it's not really just on a Saturday. Whereas I'm kind of at the point where I don't really want that for myself anymore. So it's not that somebody else is telling me I can't drink. I just know I'm not very good when I drink too much. And that is a process you really do have to learn for yourself. But I also would like to point out, I'm super fun without alcohol. So, you know,
see, I am boring without alcohol.
No,
but I am fun with alcohol.
We still need to do a physique coaching night out. No, see, you're not boring without alcohol.
Well,
not
debatable. See, when I'm at parties, like I don't want to socialize, so I just stand and eat until I get drunk, and then I want to socialize.
Got the anxious one in the room. He's in the corner with the picnic table. Yeah. I
just stole the the bowl of chips.
I love it. But yeah, none of our advice comes from a place where we necessarily nail it perfectly. And as everybody knows that I like a drink and I like my food. I just refuse to let either one of those control me. And again, it's taken a long time to accept that it's only me that ever fucks it up, because it's me then making that decision when I really deep down know better. You know, I'll be fully regretting my behavior on Sunday morning.
I think partly like the biggest takeaway from that point is that you've got to be happy with the decisions that you make. And that's the point. Like you, in a way, you know that you're probably going to regret it a little bit. But you're happy to have that sacrifice to enjoy it. And it's not like you're going to be stepping on stage next week and like
I'll that would be stepping on stage on Saturday night because drunk Harry likes to put on a performance. He's a one-woman cabaret act. But it's also, I think, post that. And again, this is a really hard position to get across as a coach, where obviously we're very accepting of what our clients do and we're non-judgmental and we're very compassionate in our coaching style. But if you've overeaten and overdrunk Friday, Saturday, Sunday, best will in the world, do not come crying to me on a Monday and going, oh, the scales have gone up. They're going to go up. Like the sooner you can just accept they are going to go up, and it's water. It's because you've overeaten. It's because you've overdrunk, and then you're slamming water down your neck because you're so dehydrated. That's all it is. And it's almost like you've got to come to the point where you accept that you're going to go a little bit wild this weekend, and then you have to accept what comes after. You can't sit there and go, well, I don't know why, or the scales are up a kilo and but what do I do now? You just get back to eating and drinking as normal. You move, you probably do a couple of hefty poos, and it'll all settle back down again.
And from our kind of situation as coaches working with people, like people come to us because they want to make a change. So if we're just turning around and being like, don't worry about it, blow it out and just live how you normally would, that's not what they're necessarily paying us for that advice. They're trying to make some changes and learn how to marry the two of getting some results, still enjoying what they actually enjoy in that lifestyle, and finding some kind of middle ground that they can take away beyond our coaching with them, implement into their daily life and carry on that understanding. Sometimes we have to push it a little bit further to be able to bring it back to find that balance. So we're teaching them the tools to go a little bit further, get some results, and be able to kind of pull it back to find a position that they're comfortable with. Absolutely. And that education. So
because even if your goal is lifestyle management, you still can't have your cake and eat it all the time. And I think dieting in many ways is the easier part, because you do have to say no to a lot more.
Yeah.
But if you realize that this is for a short period of time, this is to get my body fat down, this is to get me from A to B, boom, I can do the sacrifice. I can do that for a bit. Then maintenance happens. You've got a bit more flexibility, but it's only a bit more. It's still not a Domino's and 5 pints every Saturday night.
Yeah.
Because that's still that the lifestyle you were living pre-coaching is never going to be one you can necessarily fully go back to, because that lifestyle wasn't serving you in the first place, which is why you ended up unhappy with your performance, your weight, your looks, your skin. You felt sluggish all the time. You have to remember that maintenance, and even to some extent a surplus, the foundations are still built around exactly what we build a fat loss phase around, just with a bit more flexibility.
Yeah, a little bit more lenience.
Little bit.
Okay, cool. So I think that was generally like the more in-depth, harder to kind of understand side of things. Now, we've touched on a couple of tips, tricks, bits with someone that is in more of a fat loss dedicated phase. What else would you suggest with your clients if someone is in quite a more rigid phase that has an event like that's in the middle of a phase of fat loss?
Yes.
Makes sense.
Okay. So we're mid fat loss. You're feeling sassy. You're feeling wonderful. And then you've got your brother's girlfriend's birthday meal out.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I've picked that. Now, so one of the things would be the one we've touched on, which is calorie banking. Now, this is only semi-sensible. Well, it's sensible in most cases, but if you are on very low calories for whatever reason, it might not be something that will serve you. However, say we've got a female client who's on around 1,600 calories in her diet phase. So she's not super, super low, but not super, super high. And she's got this meal out. What I would say is bank no more than 10% of calories. And I'd probably say from no more than 3 days in your week, really. And the reason I say that is because obviously that 1,600, if you bank the full 10%, leads you to 1,460 calories a day. Now, I kind of cap it at about 10% because you don't then want to impair your performance in your training sessions or get to the point where you are too hungry that what was supposed to be a nice banking of calories for a nice meal out where you had a bit more flexibility then turns into an all-night food party because you feel so restricted from the previous days and you go into the event hungry. So that's kind of what I'd say. So then your 1,600 calories then becomes just over 2,000 for the day. I think maths is not necessarily my strong point. So not only have you got more calories to play with on that Saturday, for example, but what you can then also do is be conservative with the calories that you eat prior to the meal out on that Saturday. So my general rule of thumb would be prioritize protein and then fruit, veg or salad with previous meals. So it might be that, instead of a bowl of oats for breakfast, you have a high protein yogurt and some berries. You might then at lunch have literally chicken and an array of vegetables. So you can still have a lot of volume on your plate, but you're essentially saving some of your carbs and fats to slide towards your evening meal, working on the basis that most restaurants do some kind of weird voodoo magic, which means they turn a lasagna that you might be able to make for about 800 calories into something that's about 1,600 calories. And you go, oh, holy crap. But then one of the best tips I can ever give you, and I got this with my coach, was have a protein shake about an hour or so before you go out. So that, and Luke's nodding because we've all failed to do this, and then we've all learned. And what that's going to do is mean that by the time you go out, you're not starving hungry. So that if you go to a lovely restaurant, not many still exist where they give you a bread basket, you don't fall face first into the bread basket. Or make all of your decisions based on Hungry Harriet, because she's a very different human. And then the other one, I'm sorry if I'm stealing all of your points here, would be where you can, if you are on a fat loss phase, I think this is more important, would be try and check out the menu of the restaurant beforehand and go in with a considered plan for what you're eating. Because you, in the cold light of day, will probably make better decisions that will align with your goals than the you that is around social people, is buzzing because you're out, you've dressed up, you've done your hair, you've done your makeup, you're not in your pajamas for the 4th day running. And in that situation, you're probably more likely to go with something that may not, it might fit with your goals, but it may not. God, and I've even done the whole ordered the chicken dish and said no potatoes and can I have extra veg? I think we've all done that.
I don't think you should be scared about trying to modify meals, especially like if someone went for something and they couldn't eat the food, whether it's like they can't eat dairy and so they ask for it without cheese. Like there's no reason that you could ask for something to not come that you're going to more easily consume just because it's there. Or ask for a sauce on the side just because you might not actually use all of it just to flavor whatever meal it is. And there's small hacks that you can, I don't really like that word hacks, but you can use. We could do
like a whole hour on this, couldn't we? Like there's so many.
Yeah, but it's finding the ones that are easy for you, that you like, and to the degree and intensity that you want. Like I know people that have taken, this is going back to like the IFYM kind of time where they've taken like small pocket scales and like weighed the meal, and I'm like, yeah, you don't really need to do that.
No, you don't need
there's key points that there is, it depends how in depth you need to go or want to go, that's going to enable you to feel happy and to be able to enjoy the meal. Like if you're very close to like a photo shoot day or something, like 2 weeks out, and could you just be a little bit more restrictive on that day to be able to get to your goal without sabotaging that, and then go for a nicer meal maybe like after. And it's making that choice of, is it something that you are able to pull back on a little bit now, or do you want to have a bit more of enjoyment? I think you touched on most of the key points.
Funny, I've still got more.
Yeah, I think they're the main ones, but there are plenty more. Like as well, like I wanted to touch on the having a protein shake before is going to help to fill up the digestives with fluid as well as the protein, which is going to help to increase satiety. In addition to that, you can have drinks at the meal before you've had your meal, and things like a Diet Coke, which is going to increase that satiety and feeling of fullness because of the bubbles and the bubbles. But yeah, there's loads of hacks and there's loads of little tips and tricks that you could use, and Instagram is full of them with comparisons of this versus that. But most of this translates across to that lifestyle aspect as well, because an easy swap out of your day, if you're having like a Coke original every day, that's like 30 grams of carbs or something just for a small can. Change that for a diet and boom, that's an automatic serving, and it's something that is an easy replacement. And then over time like it's fine to have like one a day, but you might be someone that has like a liter of Coke a day, like
it's gonna have quite an impact, isn't it?
You're sort of building on those habits, and once you start to learn them, they become second nature. There might be if you have control over, well, you might not have control over where you're going to eat. You might, and you could pick places that you know are going to be better for you, or if the environment's not something that you can dictate, you can still have an understanding beforehand of what is going to be there, even if it's going around a friend's or family's house, and they're cooking. You can always ask them, like, oh, what are you going to be cooking? And you can have some idea of how that evening's going to kind of pan out, that you can plan ahead of time, opposed to trying to make those decisions at that time, which there's going to be more peer pressure, and when you're in that kind of moment, you're going to start panicking, be like, oh, I'm just going to eat everything.
We've all done that. I think as well, it's pick your indulgences. So for example, say you're going to a restaurant and you're going to order the burger, and you've settled it in your mind and you're really happy with that, but you actually prefer chips to the bread bun that the burger comes in. At the point of ordering, say, can I have no bun? And whatever, because then you can enjoy some of those chips knowing that that's your preferred carb on your meal, and ditch the bun that you wouldn't necessarily have loved anyway. Like if, I don't know, you're not a huge fan of cheese and bacon, but the burger you're picking because you want the barbecue sauce and gherkins comes with that, just ask for them to take it out. Don't feel like you have to settle for something. And I think the one thing I used to be really guilty of was, if I was going out for food and I was paying for it, I'd be like, I'm paying for this, so I'm going to have something I really enjoy. I'm not going to pick the lighter option or the salad. And that's a really stupid way of viewing it, because although eating out isn't always cheap, there'll always be another occasion. Or, you pay for the food that you actually eat at home. You just don't think about it because you do your weekly food shop. There are always going to be occasions that come up when you're not dieting. And if you have to be a little bit more reserved on this one to feel even more sassy and amazing when you go out in 6 weeks' time, then do it, because making a little sacrifice now, it's not the end of the world. Better that and go on holiday for a whole week and feel amazing and feel like you're really proud of everything you've achieved and also look banging, to, then get to that holiday and know that you said yes to every single night out, meal out in the lead up to that, made your diet 10 times harder, and then go away and go, oh, well, actually, that wasn't worth it. The power of the word no is marvelous.
Yes, definitely. And I think taking that a little bit further, like, you don't necessarily need to have a starter, a main, a dessert, and a cocktail.
No.
Pick your poison, and pick maybe beforehand, like, what you are going to have. Maybe not to the degree of that specific, I'm going to have that meal with that dessert and that thing. It might just be, okay, I'm going to have lower calorie option drinks. I'm not going to have the cocktail. I might have like a gin and tonic. I'm going to have my main and like either the starter or the dessert. And that's your choice. And don't go picking Dave's chips that he's left because he didn't want to eat them as well. No. Like, stick to your guns and be strong.
Be strong, people.
Okay, cool. I think, is there any other things you wanted to touch on around that? I think that's...
Oh, don't know, but my stomach's just rumbled. It's gone, oh, she's talking about food again. No, I don't think so. I feel like we've covered... There'll always be something, because I think we'll always think of something else, but I think we've covered the main without being quite too... It probably sounds like a bit of a tough love episode, this one. And again, please remember, if you listen to this, none of this is personal. Even if you're a client, and because we've said the word clients, it's not ever a personal dig. It's because we've all done this, and we're talking with experience and knowledge, and also as a reminder to ourselves, because we still need this reminder. Like, I had a moment earlier where I was like, oh, I can't be bothered to cook tonight, sod it, I think I'm going to order a takeaway. And I mentally slapped myself and went, you are out probably for the next 3 days. You do not need a takeaway. Stop it. Because my head's going, it wants to slide into previous Harriet's. Oh, fuck it. Well, it is my birthday. No.
Yeah. And like I say, we work with a range of people. Some people are going to be on that bottom end like spectrum of, okay, we might just advise you to have a lower calorie drink on that night, and that's it. Or on the other end, sometimes work with well, like competitors that are like a week before they're stepping on stage and they've got their mum's birthday, and we're like, okay, well, let's prepare for this as good as we can.
Yeah.
And your family know that we're sort of working for that, stepping on stage next week, so like let's put together a plan that's going to help you actually get through this without just putting your face first into that bowl of pasta. Like, so we're making these like choices, and it's very much dependent on the individual and the stage that they're at and they're comfortable with and what their goals are. And like Harry said, it's things we've gone through and go through, and we're just trying to provide sort of value that is applicable in all different areas. But if you do have any specific questions, fire them through, and we will do another quick Q&A. We are
building some questions for a Q&A, and yes. I will endeavour to provide you with some context beforehand. So strong on you.
Cool. Okay, well, we'll wrap up the episode there and speak to you in the next one.